Without further ado, would like to introduce speaking for the MySafe Society up here in our beloved Kamkamale, the amazing Jenn, who's new to me, but looking forward to hearing what Jenn has to say.
Thanks. This is my first ever kind of presentation, so bear with me. As I figure this out. Does that look right? You guys see that?
Looks fantastic. We
Great.
see it.
Perfect. Okay, hold on a sec here. I gotta move a few things. Great. Okay, yeah, a little bit about me. I am originally from Mi'kmaq territory on the East Coast and have been living and working in and around the downtown East Side in our beautiful community on and off for the past 15 years, most recently with MySafe, where I started out as the site manager at the Overdose Prevention Society, more widely and affectionately referred to as OPS. Yeah, so I've been working in community for 3 years and have recently transitioned to more of an operations side of things. Yeah, kind of want to preface that I am by no means a tech guy, but I have learned a lot over the past 3 years and very much believe in and can see the potential that the current and yet to be invented technology has to help us keep all the amazing and wonderful people who use drugs alive and safe. Would also like to acknowledge that we are living, working, and playing on the unceded traditional territories of the Musqueam, Squamish, and Tsleil-Waututh nations. All right, what is MySafe? MySafe is a safe supply initiative that was formed in response to the overdose crisis, providing people with a safer and regulated supply of opioids to prevent drug overdoses. It is a secure lockbox kind of style machine for participants to store medication, and it is accessed using a biometric palm scan at the prescribed intervals. Since we launched in 2019, we've had over 53,000 successful transactions or prescriptions that were picked up. And there will be a video at the end and also hopefully a question period for anything that does come up. How it works, depending on what community you're in, you meet with the doctor, you have your appointment, you do the intake. From there, the prescription is filled by the pharmacist, and if you're in transitional housing or an op site, either the site manager, the nurse, or the pharmacy will load the machine. Once they load, they're able to update the inventory in kiosk from the planogram on site, and then after that, the staff are able to use a portal to track, confirm any accounts of any errors, adjust availability, whether it's like once a day, twice a day, 4 times a day, and you can essentially oversee the program from anywhere with a computer and Wi-Fi once you log into the portal. The doses are accessed via a biometric palm scan. And we go here. Sorry, one sec. Yeah, so it's a first safe supply initiative of its type that's on a national scope with government funding. And it kind of is a combination of programming and technology to run it. Yeah, people access with biometrics, so the palm scan. We went with the palm scan because fingerprints can be replicated with tape, and even eyes can be replicated with photo technology, and people are very imaginative. But palm scans have their own very unique vein pattern that are impossible to replicate. The first machine launched in 2019 in Vancouver at OPS, and it was unfunded and volunteer run for about a year. We finally secured funding in 2020 with Health Canada, and now have 2 more machines in transitional housing sites in Vancouver and 1 in Victoria, with another one on its way to Vancouver for the end of June. And we recently launched a site in Winnipeg with the amazing folks at the Main Street Project, which is a pretty big step for harm reduction in the prairies, for anyone who's familiar with how things are going in those provinces. So hopefully that opens some doors down the road. This is Ruby. I think this quote pretty much sums things up right here. You know, MySafe saves lives. It saved mine. This should be enough to keep us moving forward, but unfortunately, we need more data. People want numbers, and at the end of the day, it seems like money is a big one for everyone across the board. Some of the benefits we've noted in, say, like an op site would be stabilization of staff, and in the housing sites, we've noticed a huge reduction in overdose numbers. Here's a few quotes from some of the participants that have been over time. One of my favorite anecdotal little tidbits that isn't listed here is from one of the participants in Victoria, who said that they were able to wake up and just read a book for the first time in years without having to worry about getting well, which is huge. These are some notes of support from some folks who we don't necessarily look to, such as the BPD, but they do show how the conversation around safe supply is changing in spite of recent political changes. Challenges. As with any pilot or startup, we've had some tech bumps and learning experiences along the way. But the biggest challenge we face aren't necessarily tech related, but more pushback from the colleges, the doctor, the provincial health authorities, because folks are kind of, you know, change is scary, fear of the unknown. And then hoping that now we have 3 years of success behind us, those narratives will start to shift and those uncertainties will melt away sooner as opposed to later. Yeah. Our message, MySafe addresses the poison street drug supply head on. Our message to people who use drugs is don't buy from the street, get them from MySafe, get them from the MySafe machine. MySafe has been developed with direct input and guidance from people at risk of overdose. It's a person-centered safe supply initiative that addresses the stigma and judgment associated with daily pharmacy pickup or home delivery of medications, and it gives folks a lot more autonomy over their usage and kind of a broader pickup schedule, which works really well for folks. Yeah, it gives them autonomy and control, just kind of a little bit better for everyone on all fronts. It's designed to connect people with the social and health services that can help them be healthier and safer. We're trying to make it not so clinical, you know, establish relationships and connections and working towards offering more wraparound healthcare services. And hopefully making it easier for physicians and other healthcare practitioners to provide a safer drug supply. This is a quote from our founder, Dr. Mark Tyndall, who worked in and around community for, I think, 17 years. Kind of ahead of his time when it came to safe supply. The only ethical response in this situation is to at least give people an alternative of a safe pharmaceutical drug that they will not overdose on. At the end of the day, people are experts in their own lives and they should be listened to. And hopefully we can help start holding physicians and health authorities accountable to actually listening to folks when they tell them what they need, because who knows better than themselves. We have a list of our partners, OPS, which is where it all started, Atira, the Main Street Project, Kool-Aid is in Victoria, Dispension is who we have our tech with. They're on the East Coast as well. Just want to take a minute and acknowledge and thank all of these community supporters. I mean, the list is very long, but here's a few notables. Without them and all the radical activists and activism that's happened in Vancouver over the past decade that's gotten us to where we are today, I mean, yeah, we wouldn't have made it this far. We have a lot further to go, but yeah, gotta keep at it. Yeah, huge thank you to Health Canada for giving us funding. We are currently starting in year 4 of our extension, and hopefully in the years to come, we'll start popping up in some different places, rural places, kind of move away from city centers where more supports are needed. Here's the video. Not sure why this video isn't working. What is that? Hold on.
Insert drum roll, please. No pressure. No pressure.
1 sec. I'm just trying to find that video. I don't know why the link isn't working.
I had trouble too with a YouTube video. Don't feel bad.
Hold on a sec here. Bear with me.
The last 5 years, working down here has really been horrendous. So we've done what we can to reduce the number of people dying from overdoses. The numbers say that we haven't done enough. It just makes no sense to walk by somebody knowing they're going to inject something that could kill them and not offering them an alternative when we have an alternative.
Really, the key criteria that we use for determining somebody's eligibility is, are they using street fentanyl? And as a consequence of that, are they at risk for dying?
So originally people were getting four times a day, but with COVID, we were able to respond by changing that from 4 times a day, accessing the machine for 1 time a day. So they're able to get their full day with that.
This program's great. Like, where do you see, you can walk in, put your hand up to a machine and it distributes what you need, right? I mean, that's great.
I was one of the first persons through the program. Yeah. And in fact, it's changed my whole life. Forming a great relationship with my grandchildren. I have an 18-year-old granddaughter that I've now been able to spend time with, and I'm not always running around looking to get well.
I just have to wake up in the morning, do crime or something right away to make money. Right now, at least I just know I can come here. It takes away the stress, kind of help me stay out of jail. That's for sure.
There's literally tens of thousands of people in the province who are putting themselves at risk by buying toxic street drugs. And so we need to come up with programs that can really expand beyond very structured medical models of giving people injectable heroin or injectable hydromorphone.
So we see up to 700 people a day at ops. Getting a predictable dosage from MySafe for the folks that we see every day is saving their lives. We see lots of people overdosing every day. Once they get on this program, their life changes absolutely.
My personal experience dealing with pharmacists and having to be like moderated and told what to do is frustrating, and you feel like a little kid. And this puts it in your hands how you want to deal with it, and limits the interaction and judgment that you would have to deal with going to a pharmacy.
How many people do you want to die before you decide that maybe hitting rock bottom isn't the best way for people to change? And it might seem counterintuitive to people, but giving them a safe supply of drugs is their first step towards reducing or not using, if that's what they want to do. And give them the opportunity to actually do that is, I feel, is the most important thing that I can do.
one sec here.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Jen. Just because I realize we are running a little bit low on time, we have enough time for like maybe one question. And I wanted to, there was one that hit here that was a, where did it go? It was just wondering if like the in the implementation of this thing, was there exemptions given, or did people just go ahead and do it and then get the exemption after?
I think initially it was kind of do now, ask for forgiveness later sort of approach.
Yeah.
Yeah, because as with many things.
Yeah. And I mean, it didn't hurt that the chief medical officer of was it provincial health, or I can't remember if it was Vancouver Coastal at the time, that Tyndall was fully behind it. But one of the reasons that things in Vancouver work is that people do and don't worry so much on having permission, and then find means and mechanisms and community members to shoulder up that particular process. So that is fantastic. The other question that I saw in here was, how many of these machines are in the wild and where are they?
Oh, I might have skipped that slide. We have right now, we have one in Victoria, we have 3 in Vancouver, 1 at the Overdose Prevention Society, 2 in transitional housing units, and then we just did a soft launch in Winnipeg. There's been past conversations in Cape Breton, but again, the pushback from, the colleges, the provincial health authorities, things like that, like take more time. Manitoba was like a very good learning experience about like just different rules and regulations and outdated views from 1987 with the stuffy old man up in the office,
We do. We're used to dealing with the stuffy old types, oldies. Fantastic. So I also realized that I didn't do the round of emojis for Chris and Liz, but I would like to include our emojis for Chris and Liz and for Jen and their projects in this closing of this presentation. So if we can all please give some love to the presenters. This is tough to do things in this way. Thank you so much, Jen, for stepping in last minute. Really appreciate you holding the space with us. Yay. All right, I'll turn the spotlight off you. There we go. Excellent. Okay, I'm going to pause the recording for a moment.